So what is TOR and how does it maintain online privacy and anonymity? Now, TOR specifically stands for the Onion Router and is an acronym. And the Onion Router, or TOR, is a browser program package that when used and installed makes you anonymous while connecting, accessing, and using the internet. TOR is used frequently when connecting to the dark web or to connect to illegal services through the internet to maintain goods or anything like that. And it makes sense because if you're committing a crime, you want to wear a mask, right? You don't want to be tracked. And TOR is also used for less nefarious purposes when specific countries that you might be living in block a lot of websites and a lot of internet access through heavy web censorship, and TOR is used as a way to get around these provisions in place. Now, the first step would be like, how do I get TOR? And TOR is actually quite simple and straightforward to download, as you can just install it for yourself right off of their website. And you can install it onto any system, albeit Mac, Linux, or Windows. And how does this work, though? How does this maintain online privacy and anonymity? And in order to explain that, we first would have to explain how a regular connection works. So, an average internet connection and usage generally goes on a single path from your IP in your computer to whatever place, whatever website you're trying to connect to. Now, this packet is usually not encrypted at all, and it shows your IP and it shows whatever place you're trying to connect to and all the data inside this packet represented by an envelope with some data inside. Now, the benefits of this is that it's fast and simple, where you don't need to install any specific programs or any specific protocols. You don't need any programming experience to have like a regular connection. Downsides are, though, your identity's out there, someone that can be sniffing your packets. If you're at like an internet cafe or if you're using a malicious proxy, they can view whatever data you're sending across the internet, see exactly what you're trying to say, what you're trying to do. Now, TOR, when you install it and use it on your computer, when you're trying to connect to, say, a certain website, what TOR will do is that it will take that data and it will heavily encrypt it through layers upon layers upon layers upon layers upon layers of encryption that TOR servers and that your packet will soon be routed through can decrypt a certain layer at a time, much like layers of an onion, which is why it's named the Onion Router. So the original packet that you send to the TOR entry node, or the first server node owned by TOR, contains your IP and the IP of the entry node, the destination. Now, once you send this packet out, this is the last packet that will have your original IP on it and the IP of the entry node. All the data within this envelope is encrypted through layers. So once it reaches that entry node, a single layer of encryption is pulled off, and thus the entry node knows where to send this encrypted packet of data next onto another TOR node, and then once it reaches that destination, another layer is taken off, and then once it reaches there, another TOR server node will take another layer of encryption off, and then another layer, and another layer, and then as it's going through these nodes, each node does not know the origin, in essence your IP address, and it doesn't know where or what you're trying to connect or what packet of data is actually being transmitted. It can't see the information inside it. And then so eventually it will get passed to the last TOR server, and that is called the exit node, and the exit node will pull off the last layer of encryption and finally transmit the data unencrypted to whatever website or service you're trying to connect to with your data inside, and deliver it to the server with the data. So once the website reads this and sends a response back, it will put it back into a packet and send it to the exit node, and then the exit node will then go back through all these other nodes in any random order. It might go through some of these nodes again, it might not go through these nodes again, any random order, and then eventually come back to your IP address and give this connection information back to you. Now, the positives, like we had mentioned, are the anonymity and privacy that come with it and the access to the internet that it provides, albeit to circumvent certain web censorship. Downsides are it is very slow. It can be monitored and hacked and phished in a certain way through certain government exploits and programs, and there are possibilities for you to be exploited and hacked in certain ways through the TOR network, but for the most part it is secure, and it will help you remain anonymous and private on the internet in a day and age where there is a lot of web monitoring and privacy invasion.